I'm Dr. Randy Neal, and in this video we're going to talk about what do you do if you've taken the STEP exam and you failed. It's happened to a lot of people. Keep in mind that there's probably not a single medical school in the world that hasn't had somebody at least fail that exam, so you're definitely not alone. But the answer to the question is yes, there is hope, and I think what you need to do is a couple things. Is you need to absolutely take all the exams at this point. That's step 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you take all of them, because what that'll do is, once you get into the interview, it eliminates this idea that you're still some type of academic risk. A lot of times, unfortunately, even being an IMG, you kind of suffer from the years historical data before that, to where sometimes the IMG candidates maybe struggled sometimes with step 3 compared to the Americans. So again, just by taking that exam before you actually apply to residency at this point will eliminate the idea that if they choose you, that you would be some type of academic risk. But the true difficult part of this is going to be getting the interview. And because a lot of times these days, and I've seen this process, is it goes into the computer, they put a threshold of saying, okay, we want people that have scores above this mark and with no fails. And so they generate enough applicants to fill their interview slots to where it's very difficult. So it's imperative, and I can't stress this enough, is that you do those extra things to get you that interview. And if it means taking an extra year off or extra 6 months, is to go to residency programs, volunteer your time. Doesn't matter if you're doing something else in the hospital that's not related to that field. When I was going through it, I was such in a point of making all these different fallbacks, saying, okay, I know it's going to be difficult for me because I'm an IMG. I actually applied to a hospital to work like in their billing department. I didn't get that job, but I was willing to because I was already working somewhere else technically. But I was willing to go through whatever steps it took to get into a hospital, to get my name known, for people to vouch for me per se, because I knew just being an IMG, I'd probably never make it through that interview process. So get into a hospital. I don't care what you got to do. Be a scribe. Work for free. Tell them you'd be a scribe for whomever in that field, and that you'd work for nothing, and then you can just work some other job in the evening to pay the bills. But it's having that mentality of a whatever it takes to get through this, because that's the key. The key is going to be getting the interview. Now, when you get the interview, you just kind of own the fact that you didn't pass the first time or second time or whatnot. You're not going to volunteer that information and say, oh, by the way, let me tell you about me not passing, but chances are it will come up. And what I'd like you to do is to make videos. Put simply, is I want you to make if it were me and I struggled to that test and I was going into an internal medicine residency program or a family medicine program, and I didn't pass step 1, I would probably, before I got there, make teaching videos on YouTube of, say, DKA, okay, of how to treat DKA. Now you could look on YouTube and steal other people's ideas, make the video your own, because when it comes up, when you're in that interview and they're asking, well, what happened with the STEP exam? You could say, you own it. It wasn't your day. It wasn't what you expected. But what you did from that point forward is a real true test of your character. I made myself stronger in that area, and it's evidenced by I went back and I knew that treating DKA was a weakness of mine, and so what I did is I went back and taught it until or went back and learned it until I could teach it to others. And then you quickly turn that conversation into, and that's the type of person, that's the type of work ethic that should I come to this program, that's the type of work ethic that I'll bring. And that's really going to kind of assure them, because number one, like I said, you'll have already passed all your STEP exams. You're a person who's been through a kind of an adverse situation, and you've come out the other side stronger. You're willing to put in the work, and that's something that they're really looking for. And I think if you can do that, it doesn't matter if you failed the STEP exam once or twice, because I can tell you with pretty much a known fact, I've seen a lot of people in the programs, no one talks about it, but there's a lot of people that have not passed these exams that are in residencies And somehow, you know, for their own way, and that's the piece I don't know of how they got the interview per se, but this is some of the tricks that I would do if I was in that situation. But long story short, I've known people who've not passed the steps multiple times, and they've actually become chief residents in very prestigious programs, very prestigious, shall we say, like surgical and neurology and stuff like that. So it can be done. Don't get discouraged. It's all about just improving. It's all about staying positive, and ultimately it's all about just moving forward with this. So again, these are just some of the things that I would do if I was in a situation where I didn't pass the STEP exam.